There's no going back.
Hello, welcome to my art room. Thank you very much everybody for the recent likes and subscriptions that I've had on Facebook and YouTube. It's lovely to see you there. It's great to see the numbers climbing. What I'm going to be doing now, I'm busy getting my art room ready. I'm putting an undersheet onto my table. I'm going to move the camera up to the arm on the roof and point it down at the art room table. And we're going to start working on some drawings, some actual drawings from start to finish. It'll probably take a couple of lessons to finish the drawing, and we'll concentrate each lesson on a particular element of the drawing. So, without further ado, let me get the camera mounted up and I'll see you in a minute. Okay people, I'm back and set up my camera up on the roof. Please forgive me if I sound a little nasal or chesty. I've had a little cold over the last few days. Nothing serious, but enough to make me feel a little bit or sound a little bit nasal. This little girl that you can see on the screen of my tablet here is actually my youngest daughter. She was 8 years old at the time that this photograph was taken. And I've decided that I'm going to use this particular picture to do this drawing because I think we've got some nice features here. There's some, well, besides the fact that she's my daughter and I'm allowed to say they're nice, there's some very smooth skin which is quite difficult to draw. Wrinkly faces are quite easy to draw, or easier according to some artists. So we've got this lovely smooth texture that we need to create. We've got quite a lot of detail in an eye, if you can see that. We've got some lips there that are nice and oblique, of course the nose, and then we've got some really awesome curly hair with lots and lots of drawing lessons that we can create out of this curly hair. Now, as you can see on this particular picture, I've actually drawn a grid on it. Now I'll take you to a piece of software that I downloaded. It's actually an app. There. It's called Artist Grid. Now, I find Artist Grid really helpful because you can load up a photograph. That's a lion that I did for a commission a little while ago, and you can add a grid to it. Now, the picture that I'm doing tonight is square. Tonight, I'm videoing at night now. You'll probably see it in the morning. The picture that I'm doing is square, so the grid size is not an issue at all. But if you're doing a picture like this one that is more landscape or more portrait in size, then you've got to be careful that your blocks are corresponding. Alright, so just doing square blocks is not always the answer. It happens to be on the one that I'm doing tonight, but just be careful. Anyway, this particular little piece of software gives you, or little app gives you the grids anyway, so you don't have to measure them. You do have to work out a ratio though, because if you're going to be increasing this in size, then it needs to be a relative ratio so that your drawing doesn't end up looking squashed or elongated. And then you would save that picture and it will save it with the lines. But in our case, we don't have to worry about that because I've already done it. There you go. Okay, so that is Siobhan, and that's who we're going to be drawing. Okay, so now, the problem with drawing on paper, when you're drawing your grid, is that you end up with lines going through your drawing. Now, it's an issue that I've often had to try and overcome, and then you end up drawing your lines really faintly because you don't want it to be visible at the end of the drawing. So I've come up with a method that I think is going to be a whole lot better. So I'm going to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I've drawn along the side of my paper. You can see I've drawn little marks here at regular intervals. I've done the same on the side there. I've drawn my marks, and of course across the top and on the other side. So let's put the tablet aside for a moment and let's show you how we do this without drawing lines. What I've got here is a whole lot of threads of cotton that I've cut from just your average everyday cotton. And I've done a dark color so that I can set up against the white paper. I've also got a roll of sellotape here that I'm going to sellotape it. In this case, my paper is actually a little bit bigger than my drawing, so I'm going to cut it down so I can stick straight onto the paper. But if it's if you're drawing to the full size of your paper, you can always just wrap your cotton over and stick it onto the back. So it's really a simple concept. You just line your cotton up with one of the marks and stick it down with a piece of sellotape. You do the same thing on the other side. Give it a little bit of tension, not too much because you don't want to pull it out of the sellotape. Just give it a little bit of tension there and stick it down. And as I'm sure you figured out by now, once you've done your drawing, that's your grid. Once you've done your drawing, you simply take it off and you've got no lines on your paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'll fast forward all the boring bits like what I'm doing here, and I'll see you in a minute. Right, so we'll go back to the tablet now. As you can see, my grid is done. These little cotton threads move, so you've just got to make sure that they are straight. We then go aside to our grid reference. Now I'm just going to put it up here so it'll be out of your sight, but rest assured I can see it. And we simply start drawing from each little block. Now I'm going to use an HB pencil that's relatively bluntish. It's not terribly sharp, and the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to scratch the paper. The blunt tip will lay down a little amount of graphite, and I want the graphite to be light. I don't want it to be dark at all. So on purpose I'm going with a slightly blunt pencil. And then we start just plotting out our drawing. Now I'm going to ignore the string of pearls that is around her neck. I'm going to move the tablet as well because I can't see it very well down there. I'm going to ignore the string of pearls that is around her neck. I'm not crazy about that being in the drawing, but that's just purely my own preference. And off we go. Again, I will catch up with you after I've done this.
that's what you wanna do.